Students, we are going to start the session in a short while as we are waiting for our judge. So have patience. Vipul sir, are you there? Hello, Vipul sir, are you there?
Case study competition.
Could you check, please? Could you check your audio here? So, Vipul sir, are you there? Could you please check your audio there?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I'm there. I'm there.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, great. Nazreen?
Yes, ma'am. I'll start. Good afternoon to our honored guests, faculty members, presenters, and our dear students. I, Nasreen Sheikh, on behalf of Institution Innovation Council of Jagannath International Management School, Vasantkund, feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all presenters here to our event, Case Study Competition of Indian Startups. Case study can be defined as an intensive study about a person, a group of people, or a unit, which is aimed to generalize over several units. It has also been described as an intensive systematic investigation of a single individual, group, community, or some other unit in which the researcher examines in-depth data relating to several variables. A case study helps in bringing the understanding of a complex issue or object. It can extend experience or add strength to the existing knowledge through previous research. Their conceptual analysis revolves around a limited number of events or conditions and how they relate. Talking about IIC, Institution Innovation Council was established on 21st November 2018 at JIMS Sankuch as per the norms and directives of Ministry of Human Resource Development and Ministry of Innovation Cell. Government of India has established MIC at AICTE with the purpose to systematically foster the culture of innovation in all higher education institutions across the country. The primary mandate of Innovation Cell is to encourage, inspire, and nurture young students by exposing them to new ideas and processes, resulting in an innovative activities in their formative years, fostered through network of innovation clubs in higher education institutions. Now, I would like to welcome our judges who will be helping us in deciding the winners of this case study competition at the end, Mr. Vipul Singh and Dr. Sonal Kadumbo. Mr. Vipul Singh is currently working in the capacity of Assistant Professor at the Department of Management Studies, Jagannath International Management School, and has an experience of 18 years. He has also presented papers in national and international conferences at SRCC, LSR, IIT Roorkee, IIM Raipur, Jaipuriya Institution of Management, etc. He has also qualified UGC NET in economics. He holds master's degree in both management and economics and is currently pursuing PhD in economics from Amity University, Gurgaon. His area of teaching and research include marketing management, marketing research, managerial economics, international business. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Sir, it would be great if you could say a few words to the audience.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. It's I just want to extend my greetings to everyone who is present here, all the participants. And a case study is a event where you are presenting your views, you're trying to present your solutions to the problem which is being presented or the problem at hand. It can be in any corporate or any other sector. So I wish that all the students present their best, and we like to hear a lot of innovative solutions coming from them. So I think it will be a good experience, and all this to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next up is Dr. Sonal Kadumbo. She is an assistant professor at JIMS Sankuch. Prior to this, she had spent good tenure in different colleges of Maharishi Dayanand University, Veer Narmad South Gujarat University, and SNDT University, where she was leading the department and was instrumental member of curriculum setting team. She completed her PhD from Veer Narmad South Gujarat University. Her research area is of concurrency control in DBMS and ODBMS. He has published paper in various publications which are indexed in UGC as well as Scopus. She was spearheading the DPG Institute's Innovation Cell, which is governed by AICTE and organized various activities of IIC. Her research area includes object-oriented database, SQL, big data, and cloud computing. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here with us. Ma'am, it would be great if you could say a few words to the audience.
Thank you, Nazreen. Thank you so much. So, I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My best wishes to all the contestants. And as you know, this is a part of AICTE, and we are so much active, and our government has given so many funds in this area, that is innovation and startup. So best wishes to all the students. You can start. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Before commencing, I would like to mention the rules and regulations of the event. A PowerPoint for every individual or team participation. The time limit is 8 + 2 minutes extended time. The mode of communication is either Hindi or English. Not more than two participants are allowed in a team. Now the selection will be on the following key factors: creativity, presentation skills, technique and quality of layout, execution, and in-depth research. Each of them consists of 10 marks. In total, it's 50 marks. Now, before beginning this session, I would like to make few announcements. I request all the presenters to be patient, and if any network problem turn up, and in case of anyone gets disconnected, they can join they can join the same Zoom ID to log in again. You all have to switch on your cameras while presenting your ideas. Also requesting all to keep themselves on mute mode during not during the presentation, and keeping the mobile phones in silent mode. Without waiting, let us begin with the competition by calling us to the first team. First team is Manas Mandal.
Good morning to one and all present here. Manas Mandal, I'm going as a lone wolf in this competition, and I would like to share my screen. Do I have the rights to share the screen?
Hiten, please
Yeah,
give
yeah.
the rights.
I have the rights. I have the
Okay.
rights. I didn't check.
Okay, you have the rights. Fine.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Morning to good morning to one and all present here. I, Manas Mandal. I am from BBA second year. I'm in my third semester currently. Would like to I would be participating in this event, the case study event, which is being organized by the IIC, and the company which I have chosen is an e-commerce company, that is Nykaa. Nykaa, basically, as this logo says, is your beauty, our passion. And what Nykaa has been in the making since 9 years. And what is Nykaa? I would like to tell everyone about it first. Nykaa basically is derived from the word Nykaa is derived from a Sanskrit word, Nayaka, meaning one in the spotlight. It also means actress. It is basically an e-commerce company which was founded by Mrs. Falguni Naya in the year 2012. It is headquartered in Mumbai, and it sells beauty, wellness, and fashion products across its website, mobile apps, and 76 stores across different cities. In 2015, company expanded from an online mode to an omni-channel model. In 2018, the company also launched Nykaa's Man for men's grooming. Company expanded into fashion also by launching Nykaa's Design Studio, which was later renamed to Nykaa Fashion. The company Nykaa sells product manufactured locally as well as internationally. And since Nykaa is an e-commerce brand, I would like to tell everyone about the e-commerce market in India, because e-commerce market will be, according to a survey, e-commerce market will be driven by increasing in internet penetration and affordability of smartphones, which has quite significantly increased in the past few years because the phones got cheaper, and even the mobile data, or because of the company called Jio. When Jio came, the mobile data which costed us 249 rupees came down to rupees 90 or something like that. And the growth will be driven since Nykaa is a beauty and wellness brand. It mainly focused on women at first, and keeping that in mind, growth rise from 5% to 48% according to a survey. And beauty and hygiene is one of the fastest growing market in India. 5 years are the GDP growth. Now I would like to tell everyone about the of Nykaa. Since 2012, Nykaa has raised money through multiple rounds of firm. Fidelity also invested through secondary share by purchase share from an equity holder in the company. Now I would like to tell about Nykaa's dashboard. Nykaa has currently 16 million plus visitors on website monthly. 8 minutes is the average time spent per user on its website, and there are about 6 million dashboard, and there are Nike 120 users are added to Nike's dashboard every month on an average, and Nike is having 850 plus brands on its website which it sells. It also acts as a reseller of some luxury brands as well, and it is a team of social. Now I'll talk about the social engagement of Nykaa. 45 million plus is the monthly reach of Nykaa video. 10 million plus is the monthly engagement conversion related to Nykaa happening over the social media, and increase the reach of this brand in the past few years. Recently, Nykaa was in news because it filed for its RDA received in October 2021. IPO of Nykaa opened on 28th October 2021 and was oversubscribed times, raising 5352 crores at a valuation of $10.4 billion. Nykaa got publicly listed on BSE and and 725 rupees. So there was totally 89 rupees. Falguni Nayak, India's self-billionaire with a net worth of 7.7 billion. She even crossed the bull of the market, or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who has been in the stock market since 15 years. So this is the case of stock market. It changes in a day or so. And the shares are still trading at 2,247 rupees as we talk, which is 120 time the company which got listed like Zomato or Paytm. Out of these company, only Nykaa is the profit making company. So this is how Nykaa plays in the market, and since there are no fashion e-commerce brand currently in India, they still competition brands like Nike pass out in the year 1985. Thank you, everyone. This is my case study about the company Nykaa.
Thank you so much, Manas. Um, Judges, is there any questions you can ask?
Yes, of course, Manas, good presentation. And of course, Nazreen, you've been doing a good job with the anchoring. And the questions are basically when you talk about Manas, this written news for couple of days, I think around 10. So the question which can be asked here is, I think you see a lot of brands which get built up over time and after some and the kind of business?
So, Nykaa, as compared to, as I said earlier also, since the other companies like Amazon and as well as Myntra, they are still investing in they are stage of the fashion brands. They are still not a profitable they are just trying in that fashion brand. They have not yet come out as public they are just on a trial method right now. So, in keeping that in mind, I think Nykaa will be lasting in this country, and since it the oversubscription of the company, I guess, and moreover I also got lucky, and I also got one lot of Nykaa through the IPO, so I can say about that this company will last.
Okay, but if you see what is the kind of segment, if you look at the kind of portfolio what Nykaa is
Yes, sir.
offering. So, what are the specialities, or what are the, because now today's market, it's not a generalized market. You have to
Yes, sir.
specialize in certain products and services to become successful. And if you are having a generalized portfolio, then it becomes very difficult to get the competitive edge in all the areas. So what do you think is going to be Nykaa's strategy now, looking at the IPO also now? Do you think that what company is going to narrow the product line, or they are going to stick to certain things here, or they're going to be similar to they're going to have the similar kind of products which they have?
So Nykaa's mission, basically, Nykaa rests on three ideas, that is curation, information, and personalization. The most important thing about this company is personalization. It has also introduced some artificial intelligence method, according to which people can buy their beauty and wellness products according to their skin type and according to themselves. So it is not such a general company. It depends. It has it already, the company has already kept in mind the various situations that is coming up for them.
Okay.
I have one question.
And
I have one question.
since people think that this is a woman-centric company, so just to alter that thing, Nykaa has also introduced Nykaa Man, and it has started investing in that company also. It is a basically subsidiary of this Nykaa. It is not a woman-centric company now. So it is going through different. They are trying different methods to trying to keep in the market.
Okay. I think ma'am has got a question.
Yes,
Manas?
ma'am.
I got my answer. Actually, I just want to know why he chose Nykaa only. He said it's not a woman-centric company. Just I want to know whether he is focused because of the woman-centric company, or why you choose the topic.
Ma'am, I choose the topic because in recent times, going through different companies, this was the only profitable company that came up with its IPO. Like Paytm and Zomato. Paytm, we all know that how the listing of Paytm went, but still Paytm is making a difference in the market. As we talk, it is trading at, I guess, 1850 rupees, which is much higher than the listing day price. So this is the profitable company. That's why I chose Nykaa.
No.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. But Manas, what happens when you even talk about a company which is profitable, but if you look at maybe 5 years down the line or 10 years, looking at the future, what do you think is going to happen? Maybe they are going to, consolidate the offerings, or do you think they will diversify into certain other segments? What is your take on this?
So they will be diversifying into other segments also. Since Nykaa, like I told in the presentation, I also told that Nykaa is also trying to get into the fashion market also. They are also now, and earlier it was an e-commerce brand, but now it has become an omni-channel brand. They have even opened their offline stores in Delhi. First came up in Delhi in the previous year. So they are trying to keep up with the market so that there is two, so because other brands are also coming up with different strategies, so to and keeping in mind the different strategies, they are also trying different strategies on coming up with offline stores, and they have also collaborated with some luxury brands which aren't available at any stores or any e-commerce website as of now.
Okay, I get your point, but I think it's very important to understand if you look at the broader perspective that any company they have to they have to specialize in certain areas, and they have to and they have to be very focused. They cannot be all over the market, and they cannot address the entire segment which is there, because the market is segmented, and you have to have your niche. And unless if you do that, you are generalized overall, then the profitability, or maybe the what do you say, the how much long the company will survive in the market, that is also again another question. Okay, so I think it's a good presentation, Manas. Thank you for your presentation.
Yes, sir. And sir, lastly, I would like to say that keeping up with the market, they are also collaborate. Like they have Alia Bhatt and Katrina Kaif as their investors. With Katrina Kaif, they also launched K by Katrina, which is a collaboration with Nykaa itself. So it's trying to reach the different segments of the market by through collaboration with different influencers and actresses as well, to get deeper into the society.
Yes, that is what they're doing. Yes, but
Yes.
time will tell whether their strategy is relevant or they need to change it. Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Jagdish and Manas as well. It was really a great presentation. Now moving on to our next team. The next team includes Harshita Dudeja. Kindly share your screen and you can start with your presentation.
Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Today I will be presenting the case study of Hike, founded by Kavin Bharti Mittal. Sorry, just a second. Yeah. So it was founded on 12 December 2012, and the total valuation of the company was over $1.4 billion.
Harshita, could you please play the slideshow here?
Yeah, you can make it full screen, better.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. Is it fine now?
Yes, I know. You can start.
So काफी अच्छे. Okay. Okay, so the company got a very good funding. Like it was able to raise $261 million in over 6 rounds of funding, and काफी leading investors, मतलब काफी famous business personalities जिनको industrial world का काफी ज़्यादा experience है, like the co-founder of Flipkart, the co-founder of Tinder, and Kunal Shah, the founder of Cred. काफी ज्यादा फेमस पर्सनालिटीज में इस कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करा है, जो कि एक्सप्लेन करता है कि कंपनी काफी काफी सक्सेसफुल थी अपने टाइम पर, एंड काफी लीडिंग इन्वेस्टर्स को इस पे ट्रस्ट था. सो दिस ऐप हैड इट ऑल, फ्री टेक्स्ट मैसेजेस, स्टिकर्स जिनको यूज करे बिना आजकल हमारी कॉन्वर्सेशंस कंप्लीट नहीं होती, स्टोरेज, स्टोरीज, न्यूज, क्रिकेट बस, पेमेंट्स जिसका ऑप्शन अभी अभी व्हाट्सएप पर आया है. बहुत सारे फीचर्स थे जिसकी वजह से काफी लोगों ने हाइक को एक सुपर ऐप से कंपेयर करा है. बट 2015 में, नॉट सॉरी 2021 15th जनवरी इस ऐप को बंद कर दिया गया, बिकॉज इसकी जो यूजर बेस थी वो 100 मिलियन से ओवर 2 मिलियन तक गिर गई. नाउ ये एक चार्ट है, ये 2012 का चार्ट है, जो कि बताता है कि टॉप 5 कौन सी इंटरनेट एक्टिविटीज है जो कि लोग यूज करने में इंटरेस्टेड रहते हैं. अब 2021 चल रहा है, तो हम 2012 का जो डेटा होगा वो ऑफकोर्स काफी डिफरेंट होगा. तो यहाँ पे हम जैसे देखते हैं, यहाँ पे चैटिंग इज नॉट इवन इन टॉप 5. तो कुणाल भारती ने खुद बोला था कि अगर आप मैसेजिंग के एरिया में काम करो, फ्री टेक्सटिंग की एरिया में, तो यू हैव टू बी अमंग टॉप 2 और टॉप 3. अब हमारे पास भी ज्यादा से ज्यादा व्हाट्सएप है, उसके बाद टेलीग्राम होगा, डिस्कॉर्ड, उसके बाद मैसेजिंग के लिए हम कोई दूसरी ऐप और डाउनलोड नहीं करेंगे. सो अगर आप मैसेजिंग के एरिया में काम करो, देन यू हैव टू बी अमंग टॉप 2 और टॉप 3. बट ये जो यूजर बेस थी 100 मिलियन से 2 मिलियन तक, वो क्यों गिरी? सो वन रीजन वाज सिलेक्टिव टारगेटिंग। हमने ये 2012 का चार्ट बताता है कि कॉलेज गोइंग स्टूडेंट्स और यंग पीपल, ये दो कैटेगरीज थी जो सबसे ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड थी इंटरनेट यूज करने में। सो द कंपनी ओनली टारगेटेड पीपल बिटवीन द एज ऑफ 18 to 30। हाइक ने सबसे बड़ी गलती ये करी कि उन्होंने बाकी की कैटेगरीज को इग्नोर कर दिया, बिकॉज ये एक सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक था, क्योंकि बाकी की कैटेगरीज को आप इग्नोर नहीं कर सकते। मैसेजिंग एक नेसेसिटी है, और नॉन वर्किंग वुमेन तो आजकल सबसे ज्यादा व्हाट्सएप यूज करती है। सो दे शुडंट हैव इग्नोर्ड द अदर कैटेगरीज। Second reason is innovation. Innovation is of course important. Innovation is the backbone of every idea and every startup. Basically हुआ क्या था, जैसे कि हमने देखा था कि बहुत सारे फीचर्स हाइक ने लोड कर दिए थे। गेमिंग थी, वोटिंग थी, मैसेजिंग, वॉइस कॉलिंग, सब कुछ था। बट इससे क्या हुआ, ऐप बहुत ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गई, लोगों को समझ में ही नहीं आया। सो दे रिजॉर्टेड टू मच सिंपलर ऑप्शंस लाइक व्हाट्सएप, जो कि काफी सिंपल था। अब क्योंकि आप फीचर्स ऐड करे जा रहे हो, आपकी ऐप हैवी हो जाएगी, वो ज्यादा स्टोरेज कंज्यूम करेगी। और 2012 में सबके पास 100 GB के फोन होते नहीं थे, और क्योंकि ऐप हैवी हो रही है तो डेटा भी ज्यादा कंज्यूम करेगी, इंटरनेट भी ज्यादा कंज्यूम करेंगे लोग। सो वी सॉ बटरफ्लाई इफेक्ट है। एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द रीजन कि जो कंपनी थी वो नए फीचर्स बनाई जा रही है, एंड इन नए फीचर्स को कोई बना भी तो रहा होगा, द ऐप डेवलपर्स देमसेल्व्स। सो वो नए फीचर्स बनाए जा रहे हैं, कस्टमर्स को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, सो दे स्टार्ट डिलीटिंग द ऐप। यानी कि आप चेंजेस लाए जा रहे हो, आप इनोवेट करे जा रहे हो, लेकिन आप मोनेटाइज नहीं कर पा रहे हो अपनी कंपनी को। प्लस कवन भारती मित्तल ने ये खुद एक्सेप्ट करा था कि उन्होंने गलत हायरिंग करी है। दे वेंट फ्रॉम 150 पीपल टू 400 वेरी फास्ट। प्लस उन हायरिंग्स में से सीनियर हायरिंग सबसे ज्यादा थी, एंड इट्स नॉट इजी टू फायर सीनियर एम्प्लॉयज, because you have to give a proper reason to them. And I guess lack of market research ये सबसे बड़ा रीजन है हाइक के फेलियर के लिए। आप इनोवेशन कर रहे हो, आपने बहुत सारे फीचर्स बना दिए, लोगों को वो फीचर्स समझ में नहीं आए, लोगों को कंफ्यूजन हुई, दे स्टार्टेड डिलीटिंग द ऐप। आपकी इनोवेशन पॉजिटिव में गई, बट आपकी ग्रोथ नेगेटिव में गई। मार्केट रिसर्च एक बहुत ही क्रिटिकल एलिमेंट है जब आप अपने आइडिया को प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो मार्केट में, बिकॉज आप अपना आइडिया किसके लिए ला रहे हो, ताकि लोग यूज कर सके। अगर आप लोगों के माइंडसेट को ही नहीं समझ पाओगे, देन हाउ कैन यू एक्सेप्ट योर आइडिया टू बी सक्सेसफुल? सो इनोवेशन इज जस्ट नॉट एनफ। तो प्रेजेंट की बात करें, हाइक तो 2021 जनवरी में बंद हो गया था, बट द कंपनी लॉन्च्ड 2 more apps, वाई which was a dating platform and Rush which is a gaming platform. अब ये दो एप्स भी काफी अच्छे, वीडियो कॉलिंग है, पेमेंट्स है, बट द थिंग इज अब मार्केट में कंपटीशन बहुत ज्यादा है। अब हर किसी ऐप में ये सारे ऑप्शंस है, इनकी यूजर बेस भी काफी कम है, और इससे भी कम इनकी रेटिंग्स है। नाउ व्हाट इफ, आई थिंक 2016 में जियो की एंट्री से इंटरनेट पेनिट्रेशन बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया था हमारी कंट्री में। हैड हाइक वेटेड एंड गॉन स्लो, अगर धीरे धीरे फीचर्स लाए गए होते, मतलब जिससे जो कस्टमर्स है वो अडेप्ट कर सके, देन आई थिंक द थिंग्स कुड हैव वर्क डिफरेंटली। बिकॉज 2014 के बाद, मेड इन इंडिया कैंपेन के बाद, लोगों को भी हुआ कि वो अपने देश की जो कंपनीज है जो इंडिया में आ रही है, वो उनको प्रमोट करे। So had I waited, I think the things could have worked differently. Plus, we are working in an attention economy. Attention एक सिर्फ इमोशन नहीं है, ये करेंसी है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल आप स्पॉटिफाई देख लीजिए, स्पॉटिफाई में 2 ऑप्शन है। एक प्रीमियम ऑप्शन होता है, अगर आप वो खरीद लेते हैं तो आप डायरेक्टली पे करते हैं। दूसरा ऑप्शन होता है कि आप बिना पे करे आप एड सुनते हैं, गानों के बीच में, तो आप अपनी अटेंशन से पे कर रहे हैं बेसिकली। सो दिस इज व्हाट अटेंशन इकोनॉमी इज अबाउट। अटेंशन इकोनॉमी में मार्केट रिसर्च काफी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है, बिकॉज आपको अपना कस्टमर का माइंडसेट समझना है। यूट्यूब पे बहुत सारी एड्स है, बट उसमें से गिनी चुनी एड्स होती होगी जो लोग देखते होंगे। वाई? बिकॉज उन कंपनीज ने अपने कस्टमर्स को समझा, अपने कस्टमर्स के माइंडसेट को समझा। इनोवेशन इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्रिएटिव माइंड इज इम्पोर्टेंट, बट उसके साथ साथ एक कॉन्शियस माइंड भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, जिसको पता हो कि सही क्या है, गलत क्या है, सही टाइम पे मार्केट में एंट्री कब लेनी है और एग्जिट कब लेनी है, सही टाइम पे फीचर्स कब निकालने हैं, ताकि लोग उन फीचर्स के साथ अडेप्ट कर सके। सो क्रिएटिव माइंड के साथ कॉन्शियस माइंड लेकर भी एंट्री लेनी चाहिए थी हाइक को आई गेस मार्केट में, देन आई गेस काफी डिफरेंट फ्यूचर हो सकता था हाइक का. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harshita. It was really a good presentation. Now, moving on to the judges. If you have any questions, you can ask. Meanwhile, if you all the participants are requested, if there's any question, please put your queries in the chat box.
Okay, Harshita, one question here. So what do you think was the main reason for the failure of hike? You've given many reasons, but what do you think was the main
Yes.
reason?
So I think innovation important थी, but lack of market research is one reason जिसमें वो गलती कर गए. Because आपको लोगों के हिसाब से चलना चाहिए, मतलब लोग किसके साथ अडेप्ट कर सकते हैं, कौन से फीचर्स के साथ जल्दी से अडेप्ट कर सकते हैं, जल्दी समझ सकते हैं. अगर हम व्हाट्सएप को देखें तो व्हाट्सएप काफी अपने कस्टमर के पेस के साथ चला कि कस्टमर्स कौन से फीचर्स जल्दी जल्दी समझ पाए, जैसे वॉइस कॉलिंग हो गई. फिर व्हाट्सएप ने अभी पेमेंट का ऑप्शन लाए है, तो वो कस्टमर के पेस के साथ चल रहे हैं. उन्होंने अपने कस्टमर के माइंडसेट को समझा, बट यहाँ पे हाइक प्रॉब्लम कर गया क्योंकि वो अपने कस्टमर के माइंडसेट को समझ नहीं पाया. लैक ऑफ मार्केट रिसर्च.
Okay.
No question from my side.
Yes, on ma'am, please.
So no question from my side.
Achha,
Thank
no
you.
question. Okay.
Nice presentation.
So,
Thank you.
Harshita, so if you would have been the manager or the person who was responsible for taking the crucial decisions, what kind of solutions you would have presented? Like these are the problems what you highlighted. So, what you could have done differently to not let this kind of thing happen?
ओके, अगर मैं जैसे 2012 में हाइक शुरू हुआ, अगर मैं मिडिल ऑफ द बिजनेस अगर मैं 2014 या 15 की भी बात करूं, देन आई थिंक थोड़ा मार्केट रिसर्च पे वर्क करके और एम्प्लॉयज को थोड़ा हायरिंग, जैसे बोला था कि हायरिंग बहुत जल्दी कर ली, वो नहीं करती एंड मार्केट रिसर्च ज्यादा करती, लोगों के माइंडसेट को देखती, अपने कंपेटिटर्स को देखती, व्हाट्सएप कौन सी स्पीड से जा रहा है, वर्ल्ड में जितने भी मैसेजिंग एप्स है वो कौन सी स्पीड से जा रहे हैं, ये और मैसेजिंग आई गेस सब यूज करते हैं. सो आई डोंट थिंक सो मैंने वो सिलेक्टिव टारगेटिंग करी होती. एंड इनोवेशन जो प्रोसेस है उसको काफी स्लोली करा होता. So yeah.
Okay, one last thing. If you look at Telegram and look at WhatsApp, okay, so I think you can see that also. And उसमें अगर आप देखोगे Telegram और WhatsApp में भी people instantly they went into Telegram and ultimately they have again
Yes.
come back to WhatsApp, and so you can understand and see that also, that is a study which is going on. ठीक है, चलो. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, judges and Harshita. Okay, moving on to the next team, we have team Bharat Taneja. Yeah, you can share your screen and start presentation.
Am I audible?
Yes, Meta. You're audible.
Thank you. Hi guys, my name is Bharat Taneja and I am from BBA second year. So the company that I've chosen is Jayaprakash Power, that is commonly known as JP Power. So in today's presentation, we'll be talking about various things. We'll be talking obviously about the company. We'll be talking about the differences between the value investing and growth investing. We'll also be talking about the operating profits and the growth prospects of the company. Obviously, if we are talking about the company, we have to cover the fundamental and technical analysis. We'll also be talking about the SWOT analysis. So while I was researching about the company, so as this screenshot is from the company's website. So Jayaprakash Power or JP Power is a private company which was incorporated in December 1, 1994. It is one of the leading companies in India and is a part of JP Group. JP Group is basically an infrastructure conglomerate which covers through different routes, such as it operates with in real estate and expressways. It also is in healthcare and sports. So now we'll be talking only about its subsidiary, which is JP Power. So JP Power basically deals with generating thermal electricity and hydroelectricity. So many of you would be asking that, okay, thermal electricity is something that is going to be reduced to 0% because of the Sustainable Development Goals, which only 0% of the thermal activities will be able to come up till 2030. But right now, at least 50% of the coal is generated by coal throughout the India. So it is there is a very less possibility that this company will be bankrupt in the near future, because it is not doing well as far as we are talking about for the current situation. So now we'll be talking about the growth investing and value investing. These are two different things: growth investing and value investing. So what happens in value investing is something that you buy the company's stock only at its dips, because you are not in favor of the company while talking about the growth investing. However, when you talk about the growth investing, it basically means that the company is going to grow for a foreseeable time or in the near future. So JP Power, the company that I have chosen, is a stock which is used only for value investing. I'm a trader in this company, and I've made big profits in this company. I've made 20-30% profits in this company. So I'm talking about this company as a value investor. So let us talk about the profit equation. As we all know, that profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So the revenues are basically calculated as the product of price and quantity. So as this company is generating electricity, it obviously has to sell the electricity to make profits. So in the hydroelectricity, so in the power sector, the control is basically by the government, because they do not allow the production of electricity above a certain price. So the price is controlled by the government here. Now, the only thing that can be changed is the quantity. And we all know that quantity is such a factor that is only going to increase because India is a developing nation. Now, what else can we find here? We can find the cost. So cost is basically favorable cost minus variable cost, or factor cost minus variable cost. So the variable cost is basically the coal price here. Now, if we talk about the fundamental analysis of the company, if you guys can see my mouse, the sales have been going upward up till 2018, and it has been going through a downward trend now. The expenses has also been going above the levels up till now, and what we can see is basically the operating profit. So the operating profit has been increasing up till March 2016, and then it has decreased, and now you can see that there is an upward trend here again. If we talk about the net profit has been increasing up till March 2015, and then it decreased. Why? Because of the financing activities that I will be showing you later. Now we can clearly say that there is an upward trend here again. Now, as we can clearly see that the company was not in a very good position up till March 2018. We can clearly see that the total liabilities have been going up till March 2019, and now the company is clearly going in an uptrend move. The total assets have also been increasing up till March 2019, and has gone down in March 2020. So what is the best way to analyze a company? It is obviously you can see the company's stock price. So in January 2008, we can clearly see that the price on 12th October 2007 was ₹70, and then you can see clearly that the stock price is very low right now. It is around 4.5 rupees. So why is the stock price still going down if the companies has been performing well from the past some time. So in trading, there is something known as 200-day moving average line. So 200-day moving average line shows you the average of the stock price from the past 200 days. So if you see for the month of November 2021, we can clearly see that the average is around 4 rupees of the stock, and the stock is currently moving around 4.5 rupees. So if we talk about the price increase of 4 to 4.5 rupees, we can clearly see that there is around 10 to 12% margin on gain available on this stock right now. Now, it is very important for us to know to get this SWOT analysis for any company. So the SWOT analysis for JP Power would be, the strengths would be obviously that I have clearly shown you that there has been a reduction in total liabilities of the firm. Also, the growth prospects are now increasingly becoming high because of the increase in operating profits. Now, if we talk about the weaknesses, the first red flag would be that there has been high interest payments compared to earnings. So there has been 127.4% increase for Nifty over 500 over 6.5 years. Now, we can also see that the promoters holding has been decreased by 2% year on year. So this is clearly not a good thing for a company like JP Power because the promoters are diluting their assets. Third, the company's durability is low. Fourth, there has been declining net profit with falling profit margins. Fifth, there has been a quarterly decline in net profits with falling profit margins. Now, what are the opportunities for this company? See, this is a company which has undervalued growth stocks. It has given 468% years on returns on Nifty 500 over 5.9 years. So basically, what you're getting is you're putting the stock for 6 years and you're getting 500% returns. So it is an amazing stock according to me. So another opportunity that we can find here is that companies whose fixed assets are higher than their market cap. So this company's fixed assets are higher than its market cap. This is a very good point. Now, also we can also find through the technical analysis that 30-day average of the stock price of this company is crossing over the 200-day average, and current price is greater than the open. As I showed you that the current price of the market is 4.5 rupees, whereas the 200-day moving average line is around 4 rupees. If we talk about the threats, it is said that this company is a profit to loss company. So what this point means is that this company used to make profits and it is now a loss-making company. Second, it has a degrowth in revenue, profits, and operating profit margin is in recent results. So the revenue has been going down slowly, but as we can see, there is an upward trend in the operating profits as well. Third point, there has been increasing trend in non-core income. So non-core income is the income that you get from non-operating activities. There are 3 types of operating when we calculate out the cash flow: operating, investing, and financing. So the main thing that this company the problem with this company is that it has a problem with its financing situation right now. So last point is, what is the future of the company? So the future of the company, the past has been imperfect up till now, but I think the future is bright in terms of value investing. I'm not talking about growth investing. I'm only talking about value investing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. Now moving on. That is, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Yeah, Bharat, good presentation. Can you go back to your slide on, earlier slide where you've talked about the value investing?
Just a second, sir. I'll reshare again.
So in simple terms, if you want to explain to audience, what is value investing?
Yes, sir. Just
Also, in the audience, if you have any questions, please write down in the chat box.
okay. So there are 2 types of investing for any person who is not into stock market right now. There are 2 types of investing. First is growth investing and second is value investing. So growth investing, what I call what according to me growth investing is. Growth investing is something for a company like if I talk about AU Small Finance Bank or Equitas Bank, it is these are small banks. तो जो छोटे banks होते हैं, they have a lot of margin growth. What I mean by margin growth is कि उनकी जो growth की prospects है वो बहुत ज्यादा है. क्यों? क्योंकि बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं इंडिया में जो जिनको छोटे छोटे लोन्स चाहिए और ये कंपनीज जैसे AU स्मॉल फाइनेंस बैंक और इक्विटास बैंक दे प्रोवाइड स्मॉल लोन्स. तो ऐसी कंपनीज के अभी प्रॉफिट्स कम है लेकिन फ्यूचर में ऑब्वियसली दे आर गोइंग टू इंक्रीज. नाउ second is value investing. Value investing is something that means that you need to invest in dips. What do you mean by dips? Dips means कि अगर एक स्टॉक प्राइस एवरेज स्टॉक प्राइस 10 रुपए का है और वो 8 रुपए का हो जाता है तो आप उसको एक डिप पे खरीदते हो, मतलब उसके एवरेज प्राइस से आप कम पे खरीदते हो और उसको बेच देते हो उसके अबव एवरेज प्राइस पर. तो आप उसको 8 रुपए का शेयर खरीद के 11 या 12 रुपए में बेच देते हो. So I am an investor in this company and I have made profits only by value investing. Because at this current scenario of the market, you cannot determine what is going to be the future of company for more than 1 year. So that's it.
Okay, so Bharat, so why haven't you you have talked about the technical analysis. So why haven't you did you consider, or rather did you consider about the fundamental analysis? Do you have a look at that?
Sir, I talked about fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So what I can tell more about technical analysis is that JP Power is basically a high capex business. For anybody who does not know what a high capex business is, it is very important for you to know what a low capex business is, because if you understand what low capex business is, then you will obviously understand what a high capex business is. A low capex business means that you need a lot of money to pour in assets. For example, IRCTC. For you to run a business like IRCTC, you need trains, you need buggies, you need railway tracks, you need electricity, you need immense number of people to work and manage this. So this is a high capex business. JP Power produces electricity, so it needs to produce dams. So it is a high capex business. So it is usually said for people like students and people who do not have enough income to start with a low capex business. So what is a low capex business? A business in which you do not need to huge amount of money and the cash starts producing from the day you start the business. For example, अगर मेरे को खाना बेचना है तो मैं अपने घर पर खाना बनाऊंगा और लोगों को बेचूंगा. I do not need a restaurant. I do not need a restaurant जहां पर मैं रेंट दूं या फिर अदर फैक्टर्स ऑफ इनकम को मैं पैसे दूं, मैं लोगों को सैलरीज दूं. मैं एक ऐसा बिजनेस स्टार्ट करूंगा जिससे मेरे को पहले दिन से कैश मिले. अगर मैं हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूं तो मेरे को पहले दिन से कैश नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा खर्चे करने पड़ेंगे. और जैसे ही छोटी छोटी चीजों में मेरे को प्रॉब्लम्स आएगी, फॉर एग्जांपल IRCTC, if the tracks are not doing well, we cannot run trains obviously. So a huge amount is required for running high capex businesses, but this does not obviously mean that high capex businesses are not doing well in the stock market or are not doing well. There are companies like HUL and Page Industries who are doing immensely well in this business, who are in high capex business obviously.
Okay, I think with the IRCTC, I think rather it's Indian Railways. IRCTC is only the interface for the online thing. So I think we get your point. Okay, I think that's a good presentation, Bharat. Over to you, Sonal ma'am.
Beta, what is the suggestion for your side to the company to improve their growth? What do you suggest?
Okay, ma'am. I think the main problem that is happening with JP Power is that it is a high capex business that I have already told you. So the problem with financing is always a problem with high capex businesses. So what happens is if you are not doing well, which in the case of JP Power is, you need financing. So whenever you take loans, you need to pay interest. In the case of JP Power, it took loans, but it was not able to pay back because of so many reasons like COVID and non-operating incomes and so many other factors. So the problem with interest came in and they had a problem with that because of which they were not doing well. So I think they should focus on financing activities.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Bharat and the judges. Now let's move on to the next team. We have Umama Akif. You can share your screen.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Just a second. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's fine.
Just a second. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Umama Akif, and I will be presenting the case study on the very new startup, which is Chayos, and the tagline is Meri Wali Chai. Moving forward. So the index is all about that. First, I will be talking about the Chayos, the problems, and the solution and the result. About Chayos. Chayos was established in 2012, and it is the integration of Chai Adda, serving freshly made chai, and has varieties of 25 varieties of teas, and it is customizable for over 12,000 ways, and has 13 outlets spread across Gurgaon, New Delhi, Noida, and Mumbai. Now, this is another SWOT analysis for it. If we talk about the strength, this is the strength about Chayos. And if I talk, I'll be talking about other things in later slides. The founders both are the IIT's alumni, Nitin Saluja and Raghav Verma. They both designed the chai, they are the chai makers of their family. They were the chai makers of their family. Now, what they did, they initiated that kind of idea into a new startup, and both of them being the co-founder and the founder, does the research and development things for the company. Now, the Chayos overview, it was founded in 2012, we know. Status is private, employs 390 employees. Latest deal type is B2C, and latest deal amount is $21.3 million, latest deal amount. And the investors, 13 companies are investing. Okay. Now, the USP of Chayos. The Chayos give the premium ambience, high advanced process control, broad menus to serve Western and Indian palates, and quick turnaround for higher outlets. Now, premium ambience, when we talk about premium ambience and high advanced process control, which means they will be targeting the upper middle class as well as the richer class. And the target market is metropolitan cities and the developing cities in India. Now, broad menus to serve Western as well as Indian palates, they use the very emotional connectivity strategy, market strategy in it. For example, I'll be giving 3 dishes named from their menu, which is emotionally attached. For example, Mom's Poha, Kullad Pav Bhaji, and Barish Wale Pakode. These are the major new emotional dishes they added, and this is the market strategy they are adding up. As Indians, we love chai. Now, chai is being found, why this company grew. Now, chai is being found in 3 different positions. For example, chai shops, tea shops. Now, why did they grow in the presence of tea shops? Because tea shops gives added preservatives and flavors and artificial flavors. Now, if we talk about the chai thelas, so most of the people didn't go because of the hygiene and the office chai. So with the existence of these 3 major outlets, this company instead grew. The goal is streamline petty cash management across all outlets, speed up expense approvals and reimbursements. The challenges are distribution and reconciliation of petty cash, and paper-based, manual, and time-consuming. Approvals were being asked due for small activities. And we will be talking about the result. The problem. Let me discuss the problem what Chayos face as a new startup. Every small startup face this. Managing and tracking petty cash across all outlets. Petty cash management can be difficult, especially if you're distributing and tracking cash manually across multiple locations. Now, Chayos was facing a similar challenge in its retail outlet spread across India. This is the headquarters office in Gurgaon. And there are 4 different outlets, 5 in New Delhi, 5 in Gurgaon, 2 in Noida and Mumbai. Now, Now they were facing problems in managing and tracking petty cash. Now the distribution was like this, and each outlet was allocated a lump sum amount of money at the starting of the month. Head of finance would transfer these funds to each outlet manager's personal account via NEFT. Now the challenge with NEFT was NEFT transfer to each account took time. There was no immediate cash access to the cash. Over and above money allocated to serve unexpected money requests. Now the expense workflow from purchase to accounting was long and laborious. If we see, the starting point is employees. The employees is taking the outlet manager, distributing money from the funds allocated. Now the next step is employees is using the funds to make petty cash purchases and bills. Next, the bills are being collected. Then filed expenses of the vouchers were being done. Area manager took them to the headquarters. Then the finance team took the care of it. And then another reimbursement of money was done. So this is a very long process, and because of the shortage of immediate cash was needed, so this was the problem. Now the time was wasted filing and processing of expenses, chasing area manager to get approvals, traveling to head office to submit vouchers, and the cost was involved for the transportation cost as well as the stationery and extra vouchers cost. Now the solution was Chayos came across an application, or it was a HapPay. The application is HapPay. Now what they did, they helped in cash management challenges. How? Because the head office used the HapPay web and mobile dashboard, and they allocated different cards, as well as the outlets used admin dashboard, and they used to use expense card as well as mobile app. Now each Chayos outlet was given HapPay card. Each outlet now has a card with some preloaded amount of money. Petty cash funds were loaded on each card with a click of a button. Weekly and monthly spending limits were set on each card. Next, and the result was, because of this, they were enabled to have a fast and efficient workflow that was streamlined from end to end. Automate, streamline Chayos expense report workflow from purchase to accounting, making it simpler, faster, and efficient. Now there was a long, huge step, and in this, because of this application, there were only 4 steps involved. We have to just spend. The employees used pre-funded HapPay cards and took the photograph of the bill. Now the area manager has to just approve it, and the finance team will just verify it. So 4 different steps, and the process is done, and this is how they came across. Now if I talk about the SWOT analysis, the strength, I have discussed that there were so many varieties and it was customizable. Now the opportunity is that they can explore this chai trend in international market. This is the opportunity they can have. Now the weakness is 2 weaknesses. First of all, it is not catering all sections of the society. It is for a higher class or the upper middle class. Also, the chais in every outlet is handmade. Very less or no amount of machines are being used. So the amount is very less, which means the taste varies from outlet to outlet. And the threat is that a new experience, the startup is very new and the experience is very new. So this might be the threat. And thank you so much. I end up.
Thank you so much, Mama. Moving on to the questions. That is.
Yes, Omama, a good presentation. Now, what do you think is going to be the, if you compare it with other competitors, then what do you think is going to be the edge over the others when you talk about Chayos?
So Chayos is a very new startup. Also, I never saw this kind of startup before. We have seen only 3 different kinds of small pastry shops where you can find coffees and teas. Chayos was especially for chais, and because they use the marketing strategy connecting the business to an emotional Indian mind. So this is the kind of strategy they are using. And now what I've seen why Chayos grew, it was because they took the help of social media side by side. Now, if you go across the very different web pages, they are almost everywhere, be it Twitter, be it Facebook, be it social media, Instagram. And because of this, social media help, they grew automatically. So I guess if they explore the international market as well, this company will do good and very good in future, comparing it to other small outlets. Because chai, like in other outlets or in other companies, we see chai a different section, small section, if you need it as a beverage or something, small section. But this company is mainly focusing on chai only. And the other sections, for example, pakoda or poha, these all things are different in that menu. So they are basically focusing on something, as we always talk about quality over quantity. So this company is doing that. They are focusing on one aspect, which is chai, and focusing on different varieties with chai, be it chocolate chai, Maggi chai. There's so many, 12,000 types of chai. So this is what is USP, unique selling price, about this company.
Unique selling proposition. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if you compare it with Chai Point, there is another outlet, Chai Point. So that is also a startup. And
Yes.
what do you think is the edge the Chayos has over this Chai Point? Because they are also having similar kind of products. Have
So,
you done any kind of research on that?
So I didn't basically research about the companies as a competitor, but personally as a third person, if I see as a viewer, why Chayos was in my view and not Chai Point, because Chayos use social media, and because of as we teenagers go across so many ads, and because they use that multi social media strategy, because of that they were very famous. Also, they have basically different setups in the very national region of the country, which is Delhi, Mumbai, where people are really influenced. So that's, I think, the Chai Point might be big, but I never saw it on, there was no mass communication or mass advertisement from their side. So I never saw it as a personally advertisement.
What do you, ma'am? Sonal, ma'am?
You said that Chayos uses machines for their products. They are not using machine for their products. So this is that is a disadvantage, or that is not right. So if they are using manpower, so taste will be different. So that will be a disadvantage for them, as you say. Can you explain more about it? It is right, or I think, yeah.
Ma'am, what I personally feel is we have already gone through many machine made chai that in the offices, in the schools we get, and most of the people don't take it from chai thelas. So what they did, they used a different thing, that हाँ घर की चाय होती है, घर पे हाथ की बनी हुई चाय होती है, उसमें अलग टेस्ट होता है. That's what they use as a strategy. And मैम अगर आप मेन्यूज के साथ जाए, मैम मॉम्स पोहा, बारिश वाले पकौड़े, उसके साथ वो चाय को ऐसा रिलेट कर रहे हैं कि अगर किसी का खाने का भी मन नहीं होता तो हाँ कुछ इमोशनल, वी इंडियंस आर नोन टू बी इमोशनल, तो वो उसके साथ फ्लो में चाय के साथ कुछ ना कुछ ले ही लेते हैं. सो मैन मेड चाय इन्होंने यही, मैम ऐसा नहीं कि बिल्कुल ही नहीं यूज होती, कुछ मशीन्स हैं, बट मैन मेड चाय या फिर लेबर मेड चाय या फिर हैंड मेड चाय उन्होंने दिखाया है इस तरीके से कि तुम्हारे को हाथ की बनी हुई चाय मिलेगी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू आर नॉट एट होम, यू आर सिटिंग इन XYZ सिटी अवे फ्रॉम होम, तुम्हें याद आ रही है कि मॉम की चाय, सो यू विल गो टू चायर्स, तुम्हें हाथ की बनी हुई चाय मिलेगी, बिकॉज टेस्ट रियली वेरीज फ्रॉम अ मशीन मेड चाय एंड अ हैंड मेड चाय. एंड मैम द मोस्ट ऑर्डर्ड चाय, क्योंकि बहुत सारा कस्टमाइजेशन होता है, तो मोस्ट ऑर्डर्ड चाय इज kadak adrak wali chai. So it is the most customized chai which is very famous in chais.
That's why I'm asking. It's a good point. It's not disadvantage. I'm telling you it's a good point.
It's a good point, but the thing is, ma'am, this automation मैम बात है कि ये होता है कि आपने आज इस चाय उसके आउटलेट से पी लिया, तुम्हें बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा लगा वो, एंड यू आर गोइंग लाइक तुम्हें चाय उस दूसरी जगह मिलता है, यू आर गोइंग एंड ऑर्डरिंग द सेम chai there, so it is handmade, so taste vary from person to person. That's what I was countering as a weakness, ki ek outlet will be different in taste to another outlet because it is handmade and not machine made.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, judges. Is there any more questions? Okay. So moving on to the next team, we have Pratik Thakur and Mohan Upadhyay. Pratik Thakur and Mohan Upadhyay. Okay, so, okay, they are not present here. Okay, moving on to the next, the final, the least, not the least, Samarth Mishra.
The least prepared, you can say, but can you just give me a minute? Somebody's at my door. I have to answer that. Just give me a minute, please.
Okay.
Yes, am I visible and am I audible?
Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay. Just give me a minute. I'm just, first of all, I'm gonna put this in the presentation mode. Now, originally, one of my friends asked me to join this competition about yesterday or day before yesterday. So I thought, cool. But now, as I've seen the other participants, the sheer amount of research they have put in this has perplexed me. I was going to present something else about a foreign mercenary corporation, actually a startup, but I guess that would not qualify here for we are talking about Indian startups. So today my startup is Sangam Talks, India, a distorted past. Now, why is this the topic? First of all, I'm just going to put some context here. After reading the topic of my presentation, some of you might have guessed, most of you have, after all, it's about history. Half correct, but it also deals with the impact on the modern era, where this is where my startup or my organization comes in. Sangam Talks and research on history. After all, what better case study for an organization than it works itself? नाउ इंडियन हिस्ट्री आप डिस्टॉर्टेड क्यों कहेंगे उसको? क्योंकि आप कई सारे ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं जब आप अपनी एनसीईआरटी किताबों में पढ़ते हो आप देखते हो कि हाँ कि ये फैक्ट इससे कोरिलेट नहीं कर रहा, ये यहाँ कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर रहा है, कोई एक चीज पढ़ा रहा है, कोई दूसरी चीज पढ़ा रहा है। तो इसके पीछे के कारण क्या है, क्या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इसको डील कर रही हैं? मेरा जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है स्टार्टअप इसके बारे में, अभी संगम टॉक्स के बारे में आता है। संगम टॉक्स बेसिकली एक अर्नेस्ट एफर्ट था इंडियन नैरेटिव जो होता है हिस्ट्री का उसको रिक्लेम करने का. It was established in 2006 to provide a platform to various researchers to provide the research and information about the Indian who deal with Indology. Indology is a subject focusing on Indian history specifically, relating to its culture and mythical ethos and everything else. It has amassed over 300k followers and subscribers over YouTube on his YouTube channel since 2016 actually. इनका YouTube channel 2016 में आया था. संजीव सन्याल ने इनका पहला teaser launch करा था. How much of Indian history is actually accurate. That's where they came into limelight, and that was the period where many such organizations were starting to pop up. This was one of the first. So they had a niche in the, if you say it, the market of Indology. Recently, they've also launched their work in the podcast format. Over the years, they have hosted various scholars, Mr. Raj Vedam, Satish K. Sharma, Nilesh Oak. उनके प्लेटफॉर्म को शेयर करने यूज करने के लिए, अपनी डिस्कवरी शेयर करने के लिए और कुछ कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन शेयर करने के लिए मेन स्ट्रीम हिस्ट्री के बारे में. मैंने इंडिपेंडेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स जैसे मिस्टर राज वेदम जिस इंस्टीट्यूट के हेड है उनने डायरेक्टली कोलैबोरेट करा एक टॉपिक पे जिसके बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे इसमें फॉर वेरियस बिग प्रोजेक्ट्स. तो हमारा जो मॉडस ऑपरेंडी जो होगा एमओ होगा हमारा इसका वो होगा पहली बात थ्योरीज और स्टेटमेंट्स देखना जो वेरियस मेन स्ट्रीम में है और फिर संगम टॉक्स के रिसर्च और उसके बेसिस पे I will try to provide reasons for its debunking, who's responsible and the reasons. This is all the research done by Sangam Talks. And why am I showing this? Because this is a case study about the work itself of an organization and its impact on today. Now here you see it's the logo, Sangam Talks, rebuild, reclaim. Actually, reclaim, rebuild the Indian civilization. It speaks for itself. It uses the lotus as its symbol. Now, but first, some basic concepts. Why do we need an organization on history? Why do we need an organization, particularly on history? First of all, what is history? A story, a account, a fact, a lesson, a casus belli, a grudge, a legacy. Truth be told, it is all that and more. Basically, ये सब है. आज की डेट में जो भी influences आप देखते हो, आज की डेट में जितने भी conflicts हैं, जो भी आपकी research है, जो भी आपकी conditions हैं, in fact, जो आज हम BJMC पढ़ रहे हैं, इसकी अपनी एक history है. इसकी वजह से आज हम वो subjects पढ़ रहे हैं. What is distortion of history? Distortion of history वो होती है आपने सबने वो पढ़ा होगा. History is written by the victors. Now the victors can be anybody. If the Nazis won the World War II, our history would have been much different. That is why that's called distortion of history. Where one side hides its bad doings and emphasizes on others for various gains and other things. What impact does such distortions have on present and future? To answer that, here's a clue. Basically, George Orwell का है ये 1949 में उन्होंने लिखा था अपनी book 1984 में. He who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. मतलब आज की present में जो dominant है वो past लिखेगा और जिसके पास past है वो future control करता है. It's a very big thing. हम क्या कवर करेंगे आज की डेट में? बहुत सारे ऐसे सब्जेक्ट हैं इंडियन हिस्ट्री में इसको टैम्पर किया गया, बट क्योंकि टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट की वजह से हम सिर्फ 3 टॉपिक्स को कवर करेंगे: आर्यन इन्वेजन, कास्ट सिस्टम एंड राजपूत इन जनरल. ये सारी रिसर्च शुरू करी थी जब आर्यन इन्वेजन की रिसर्च के लिए आई वुड रेफर टू संगम टॉक्स के आप राजवेदम और नीलेश ओक और अभिजीत चावड़ा. इन लोगों ने एक एक्सटेंसिव रिसर्च डॉक्यूमेंट्री आपके यूट्यूब पे डाली थी और संगम टॉक्स की अपनी वेबसाइट पे भी इनका वो है टू प्रोवाइड सर्टेन इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट दिस. टू गिव यू अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, आर्यन इन्वेजन थ्योरी हर स्कूल में पढ़ाई जाती है. आजकल माइग्रेशन कर दिया गया है उसे. ये मैक्स मेयर के द्वारा प्रपोज की गई थी, जर्मन स्कॉलर वर्किंग फॉर द ब्रिटिश एम्पायर इन 1850s to give a notion that India was invaded by steppe people called Aryans who wiped out the native Harappan culture and brought their own culture, which is Vedic culture. Theory was later reaffirmed use of genetics. Current day, it has been named as Aryan migration, as I was discussing earlier. The main pointers है कि मतलब forceful periodization history का हुआ, civilization only dating back to 5,000 years, division between Aryans and Dravidians, India a receiver rather than a beacon of influence, a hypothetical ancestor of Indian language, and the Indian civilization is foreign and recent. Now bear with me, थोड़ा history में ही है मेरे तीनों topics, तो अगर कोई सोना चाहता है सो जाओ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. आर्यन इन्वेजन रिबटल. अब ये जो टॉपिक्स थे, सबसे पहली बात है इन्वेजन का कोई सबसे पहली बात तो वो नहीं था एविडेंस. जब भी कहीं इन्वेजन होता है वहाँ बैटल्स होते हैं, बैटल्स के बाद सिटाडेल्स होते हैं जिनमें डैमेजेस होते हैं. उसका कोई आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस नहीं मिला. तो उसके बाद आपने देखा पूरी थ्योरी को रीब्रांड कर दिया गया। ये जो भी आप मैप देख रहे हैं, ये बेसिकली प्रपोज मैप है आउट ऑफ इंडिया थ्योरी। ये बताता है कि अगर आप देखा जाए टोबा वोल्केनो का जो एक्सप्लोजन हुआ था, उसके बाद एक आउट ऑफ इंडिया वेव गई थी जो यूरोप में भी स्प्रेड हुई थी और बाकी जगहों पे। उसका जनरली फोकस आपका रहता है कि वो जो ग्रुप था वो या तो यहाँ से, ये जो आपका ये रीजन है, या तो ये रीजन, इसमें से आपको ग्रुप इमर्ज हुआ। आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस जो है 5000 ईयर्स का, जहां तक हमारी वो डेट की जाती है, उसके एक आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस उससे पुराना मिला है कई साइट्स पे, सिनौली, तिजहड़ी, द्वारका, इन सब के सैंपल्स हैं जो 15,000 18,000 ईयर्स डेट बैक कर रहे हैं आज की डेट में। कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन की जहां तक बात करते हैं, जब कहते हैं कि इंडस वाली सिविलाइजेशन बहुत डिफरेंट थी आज की सिविलाइजेशन से, बट अगेन एविडेंस डिफर्स। आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस जो पाया गया है उसमें कई सारे ऐसे ग्रुप्स हैं, जैसे स्टैचूज विद बिंदीज, the early monuments, or you can say statues of various Indic gods. So you can't say it was not a continuous civilization. Linguistic evidence ये बताता है कि बेसिकली एक कहा जाता है कि इंडो यूरोपियन लैंग्वेज की वजह से कॉकसस माउंटेन्स में से ये सारी लैंग्वेजेस आई। बट ये सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत है कि बहुत हद तक एक सिमिलैरिटी है संस्कृत और द्रविडियन लैंग्वेजेस में, बहुत ज्यादा, एक अनकैनी लेवल पे। वो तब नहीं हो सकती अगर दोनों डिस्टिंक्ट कल्चर्स हो। उसके बाद लैंग्वेज थ्योरी की प्रॉब्लम ये है कि लैंग्वेज थ्योरी आप कहीं से भी बना सकते हो। मैं यहाँ से बनाऊँ, मैं यहाँ से बनाऊँ, आप कॉकसस की वजह से जापान में बिठा दो कि जापान से सारी लैंग्वेजेस निकली, आप ये भी कह सकते हो। वो बहुत एक बेसलेस थ्योरी बन जाती है। उसके बाद जेनेटिक एविडेंस है कि मतलब जेनेटिक एविडेंस बहुत, अगेन सेम चीज जेनेटिक एविडेंस के साथ है। एक R1A1 जो आपका हैप्लो ग्रुप है, उसी को लेके लोग कहते हैं कि इट इज एमर्जिंग फ्रॉम यूरोप, बट उसका कोई एमर्जेंट पॉइंट नहीं दिखाया है हिस्ट्री में। आपको कोई डेटिंग नहीं हुई इमर्जिंग पॉइंट की। उसके ग्रुप्स रशिया में भी हैं, इंडिया में भी हैं, तो आप तो कहीं से भी बोल सकते हो। सेंट्रल एशियन जीन्स की बात करते हैं सब, तो सेंट्रल एशियन जीन्स का ट्रेस 12,000 ईयर्स पुराना है, और आर्यन इन्वेजन की डेटिंग की जाती है कुछ 2000 ईयर्स पहले तक की। उसके बाद अदर इन्फ्लुएंसेस, बेसिकली जहाँ तक बात करते हैं इंडिया की, तो इंडियन इन्फ्लुएंसेस वे फार एंड वाइड, नॉट जस्ट ईस्ट। आपके ईस्ट में सबको पता है कि या इंडियनाइजेशन बहुत हद तक हुआ था इंडोनेशिया और बाकी जगहों का। आपका वेस्ट में भी जो आपकी लाइब्रेरी ऑफ अलेक्जेंड्रिया थी आपका इजिप्ट, वहाँ वास्ट वास्ट सम्स ऑफ इंडियन स्क्रिप्चर्स एंड मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट्स वर केप्ट। इस्टफान की जो आपकी लाइब्रेरी थी, वहाँ भी सेम था। लिटरेरी डेटा और एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल डेटिंग, ये भी बहुत एक इम्पॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि अगर आप देखा जाए कि एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल डेटिंग से ज़्यादा एक्यूरेट डेटिंग मेथड नहीं मिला आज तक, वो भी इसके फेवर में। ये एक फैसेट है। अब उसके पीछे के रीजन जहाँ तक जाते हैं, एक होता है कि एक रिलीजियस मोटिव था ब्रिटिशर्स का, to create a sense of division between the people and to prove the events of Bible as historical. Max Miller was a very religious man, as his texts show, as his letters show. Colonial advantage मिलती थी इससे, आप कह सकते हैं। You can always portray कि Indians were uncivilized and always civilized by a foreign force or exterior invasion force. Political motive तो था ही। आपका साउथ में एक मूवमेंट चला था एजिटेशन का, it was solely based on his theory. Some people got into power and many people were killed because of that. And various other motives were also there. एक ये था कि मतलब यहाँ के जो existing group है उसको invaders की तरह दिखाना था। But to move on to this, you have the caste system. Again, same thing. Caste system का basic narrative ये है कि 5 divisions of caste है पहली बात। First of all, एक caste existed since the various civilization. Poverty existed in India due to caste, and British tried to put an end to this problem. ये बेसिकली ये था, और मैक्स मिलर के ट्रांसलेशन में इसका बहुत ज्यादा वो है रेफरेंस है। फिर फेमस लीडर्स बी आर अम्बेडकर तक ने मैक्स मिलर को साइड करा था उसमें। अब इसके साथ प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आती है, जब आप उसके रिबटल पे आते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारे प्लॉट होल्स। जैसे आपका जो वर्ड है कास्ट, इट केम फ्रॉम द पोर्चुगीज वर्ड कॉल्ड कास्टा, व्हिच मेंट lineage, breed. The meaning changed over time. The same type of word is also there in Castilian and Aragonese, two other dialects of what you call today Spanish. There was also, the word actually used here was Varna system. It has only 4 classifications. Why the question arises here, why the need to use the word caste? If it was similar to the class system, why not use class? The accounts of an Arabic scholar, Al-Biruni, talk about the caste system. He said the system was not unique to India and was existing in various other parts of the world like Arabia and France. Basically, he was referring to the class system, the class division of various parts of the world, with the leaders being at the top, nobility at the bottom, clergy sharing the same position, and peasantry below them. And the class-based discrimination was also without substantial proof. There was no administrative records which segregated people based on the caste prior to the Britishers. In fact, caste was not even a parameter for such documentation until 1904, when it was introduced by the Britishers in census. British translation of religious scriptures like Manusmriti show signs of mistranslations because modern translations show something else. In fact, Manusmriti is one specific iteration. It's Manusmriti's 10.65. You can see it is written that Brahmins can be Shudras, Shudras can be Brahmins, but not going deep in that. Other than that, there was also the fifth categorization of caste, Dalit. It is Dalit, on the other hand, is a Hindi word meaning those who have been cast away. It is not even in the classification, but somehow it has always been included. The words Dalit and Jati have never been used in any of the sacred scriptures. Some of the famous example of respected Shudras, as they say the Shudras were mistreated, where Chandragupta Maurya, sage Valmiki wrote the Ramayana. Kakatiya kings of Andhra. Andhra had a proud tradition of Kakatiya kings who defeated even the famous Alauddin Khilji. They were known as the Turk cutters at that time. Though some cases of discrimination or injustice against someone from a lower caste and some against upper caste also were found in the history, it was merely of someone being in authority and misusing. It's just like अगर आप कह लो कि आपके कॉलेज में एक सीनियर पोजीशन पे एक आदमी है और अपनी अथॉरिटी का मिसयूज कर रहा है. It was something like that. In fact, contrary to this fact, out of 500 principalities in India, nearly 300 were ruled by rulers belonging to the Shudra classification of caste before British imperialism. Now let's come back to reasons why to do this. First of all, religious motives. The first time this word caste was introduced by the Jesuits of Portugal under the sanction of Pope Nicholas V to use caste system as a tool for conversion. It was used extensively during the Portuguese Inquisition of Goa, or also known as the Goan Inquisition. In fact, mistranslations were in full swing thanks to the Sanskrit chair in Oxford in 1930, over which the Anglican Church, over the Sanskrit chair's position was decided by the Anglican Church, and it enjoyed huge influence over it. Colonial motive, yeah, of course, colonial motive is always there because if you are the British and you need to administrate a huge part of land that is India, you would need people to do it for you. You can't always hire Britishers to own every land piece because you don't have that many Britishers to own UP, much less India. So you used the caste-based divisions that you created to create an upper caste landowning class, to keep it submissive to them and in turn submissive of the lower caste to them. That's how you divided the places and you gave them authority based on religion. Political motive, yeah, you have political motive when you can create a vote bank based on caste. Why not use that to further your political career? It's a great tool for people. Other motives were, of course, segregate it so not to have some communal tension that you have created here. That is perhaps they called it the caste system because they didn't want the same trouble of by calling it a class system, didn't want the same trouble to erupt in Europe or in places like France, which it did erupt, but due to different reasons. And on to the final topic. Sorry if I'm boring anybody here. I'm just a bit fanatical about these things. The injustice with the Rajputs. Now, context. Now, in the modern days, the image of the Rajputs have been maligned. Not myself, so I'm not in a position to say anything much. But based on historical evidences, I'm just going to put a few pointers. First of all, the Rajputs were soundly defeated by all the invaders. This were the main claims. Rajput bravery was always exaggerated and they were cowards. Rajputs were heavily opium addicts. Rajputs did not adopt new tactics and technology and stuck to ossified tactics. They were specialists in defeat and were more focused on leisure. These were the main allegations made to the Rajputs. In fact, most of these came from the foreign historians, some of them praising the Rajputs actually. But Indian historians were no behind when it comes to maligning Indians' images, but somehow, okay. So to give you a bit of rebuttal first, I'll just share you some victories, major Rajput victories that actually aided in the substantial control of the northern subcontinent. Nagabhatta was one victory over the Arabs. Nagabhatta was a Pratihara king. First battle of Tarain, a Katoch victory over Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Uh, After that, Rana Hamir's victory over Delhi Sultanate, Battle of Khatoli and Dhurpul, where Rana Sangha defeated Lodhis, the king of Lodhis, Ibrahim Lodi. Durgadas Rathor's war for Marwadi independence. He fought against the Mughals tooth and nail and eventually achieved his goal and then reclused himself to a seclusive life. And the Battle of Daver, which is very famous. And these are the major figures. Prithviraj Chauhan, famous for the first Battle of Terrain. Rana Sangha, of course, Battle of Khatoli and Dhulpur, and other battles around the subcontinent. Rana Hamir, Durga Das Rathod, a folktale legend. Rana Pratap and Bappa Rawal. Nobody can forget this character. He was a part of the victory over Arabs. Now, Arabs defeated by the Pratiharas never stepped a foot across the Indus after that. And in fact, the Arabs that did rule over Sindh were overthrown by Muslim Rajput there. Mughals, the Rajputs by that, let's not take the Mughals right now. First, deal with Turks. Chronological order. Initially defeated by the Chauhans, the later Turkic sultanates defeated by the Solankis, Galehots, Sisotiyas, with some losses here and there. The Rajputs by that point were fighting for more than a century against invaders and were exhausted. Anybody would be. Any kingdoms that were fighting amongst themselves and outside influences would be exhausted by that point. And though they did put up fierce resistance against the Mughals, most of them eventually lost. But they were never directly annexed in the empire as a gesture of respect, and later won their freedom back from the Mughals, like Durgadas Rathod and the kingdom of Mewar. Marathas, depleted and exhausted, they put up a good resistance against them, but weren't able to match the vast armies of the Maratha Empire trained by French experts. Marathas had one of the most advanced armies, one of the most trained armies, trained by French adventurers they hired, using the latest French guns. That's another myth that people say Indians were fighting with swords when Britishers came. A sound myth. People just, Indian history. Britishers crippled by the Marathas, Rajput offers resistance, but again, eventually accepted suzerainty of the British. They couldn't do. Other than that, they were not specialists in defeat. अगर वो specialists in defeat होते, then why did the various sultanates of Jaunpur, Gujarat, Malwa, Shah Suri, the Sikh ruler Ranjit Singh, the Mughals, Marathas, and even the Britishers employed them highly paid professional troops and officers in their armies? If they were specialists in defeats, I don't think you would hire a defeatist in your army. That's counterproductive. The frontier people were always backwards when it comes to military technology.
Yeah,
and
your time is exceeded.
I'll just end it. Just 2 more slides. Sorry, I knew there were constraints sometimes. History can get extensive sometimes. Again, if they were backwards, then how did the rest of India survive when big kingdoms like the Senas of Bengal and Kakatiyas were utterly decimated? On the other, the modern drill army was established by Savai Raja Jai Singh II, and various Rajputs alongside Mughals were fighting as mercenaries, especially the Purbiya musketeers used by Rajas and Sultans alike. Opium was used by many kingdoms in the world, as they said, the opium edicts, by the Ottomans, by the British, by the French, by the Austrians, and many Indian kingdoms. So I don't think that's an allegation. The reason would be religious motive was always there to show a bias, anti-colonial motive. The only downfall of the Rajputs was because some kingdoms chose suzerainty to the British. They became the targets of the anti-colonial movement. Political motive was always there because when there's a group that has great social outreach, does not have a great social outreach, but has an ample of assets, why not vilify them and take the resources yourself? Many other motives were there, but this is just to conclude the research by Sangam Talks. Now, to conclude this, I would say we need organizations like Sangam Talks because of this very reason, because history is always ever changing. It can change by me, it can change by you, it can be written by somebody else. We need them so we shall not end as a footnote in our own history written by someone else. The first takeaway I would give you that not take anything with a grain of salt. Even what I'm saying to you right now, go and research it for your own and then believe it. Always look at the fact, but also the reason behind it, why it happened, who's responsible, and what will be the aftermath of that particular fact. Anyone disagrees with this point, I would like to hear the stance with my pointers. I would like to hear the evidence because that actually helps improve the accuracy of historical factor theory. A special thanks to, of course, all the speakers, Raj Vedam, Abhijit Chavda, Satish K. Sharma. His book also, Castes and Conversion, A Colonial Conspiracy, good read. Amarendru Ratnu for his lectures, Sandeep Balakrishna for his lectures, Nilesh Oak, and Sangam Talks itself for organizing, Manusmriti and this all. These are the links, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on to the questions.
Yes, Samarth, it's a good presentation and quite detailed and quite revealing a lot of things which I think normally are not known to people, and maybe they are hidden or not presented in that manner. So basically, if you look at the, I think what you're trying to present, that there is a lot of distortion happening in the Indian history. So first thing is that if you're talking about Sangam Talks also, what is the validity, or what is the kind of the credibility which even the organization like Sangam Talks, or maybe there can be more which you can put, and who's going to verify that? If suppose if they are giving a viewpoint, or they are trying to give certain evidence, so is there any neutral agency, is there any which is trying to verify or give a kind of a verdict on this? That is one.
That is the question that always comes up when we say that Indian history is distorted. Then who is presenting the non-distorted version, and how can you say it's not distorted, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
first of all, as I said, history has always had a hand. History has always had a meddling hand of anyone writing it with a bias. You can always say, you can even say Sangam Talks, the researchers that come there also research on their own bias. So that is why Sangam Talks does a very clever thing, that it tries to inculcate in people an attitude of researching it yourself, trying to go out, research, take the look at archaeological records, surveys. Don't trust on books like people from Lomila Thapad and every else. Just read them and treat them as a gospel of truth. Don't even treat Raj Vedam, Sir Raj Vedam as a gospel of truth. Just research it yourself. Check the validity of the facts yourself, research it, and then when you come to a conclusion, you may believe it or you may not believe it. If you don't believe it, present it. Maybe we will change our opinion. Maybe we were wrong somewhere.
Okay. So that is one thing. And what are the kind of measures, like what you are saying, that tested yourself before believing? And that is what Buddha also said, right? Before accepting his teachings. So if you look at this, then what is your take on this? That what can be, if we even take it that, okay, the history has been distorted, and it's not only, I think, Indian history, maybe all the history around the world, all the countries would be doing it in their favor. So if that is the case, then what can be your takeaway on this, that how these things can be prevented, or maybe how more authentic points can be put across?
Sir, only 3 words: start from scratch. Start from scratch, because when you use the history that has already been there as a basis, especially the British history or the Western history that has been written over all of the world, because it's an undeniable fact that West dominated the world for the past century, even still does to a certain extent, and it has written the history of the world in its own eyes. So we have to start from scratch. We have to search for, our organizations, the ASI that has been created, has a duty to start from scratch, to search everything for itself. But sadly, our organizations are very carefree in this attitude. Indians are generally carefree when it comes to history. It will go past. But things like that matter. And that's why these organizations, Sangam Talks, even Swaraj, I guess the news portal, does some of these activities. Voice of Bharat, the festival that is Bharat, these YouTube channels and various organizations that come forward. Sangam Talks was one of the first that I noticed. That's why I said it has a niche in this particular area. This needs to be done. And not just you need to believe them, even the new research from the scratch. You need to, again, what I said, go forward, look for yourself. Look at the board documents if you want. Cross check, see the contradictions.
What about this Jawaharlal Nehru's discovery of India and all? What is your take on that?
Sir, Bharat Ek Khoj was a great read, actually, if I would say, for just getting a basis on Indian history. But after that, what people need to do is take that book, take the actual historical research, if somebody is interested in history that much, and go and look at the plot holes. There are various things that are actually somewhat contradictory to the statement, especially when I remember the chapter about Rana Sangha there. In that book, Rana Sangha's chapter has been written like Mughals offered them amnesty at first. And Rana Sangha wrote a letter to the Mughals because that's one fact that was historically incorrect. Babur was invited by one of the relatives of Ibrahim Lodi, who resided in the border provinces of Punjab, and that was to push the claim of that relative's throne to the throne of Delhi. Babur came, defeated both of them. Rana Sangha was just a casualty at the sides because Rana Sangha was one of the most powerful northern rulers at that time, amassing a great army. If he had not defeated them, or the battle had gone differently, maybe it was not the Mughals on the throne. Maybe Rajputs would have returned to the ancestral capital of Delhi.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's a good research which you have done. It's a good presentation, Samarth. Yeah. Over to you, Sonal, ma'am. I'm fine with this.
Actually, your research need lots of authentication and research and proof for everything. Because when we are talking about what happened so many years ago, so we don't have evidence, and for that, your company or that can be face many cases, or it can be a legal issue, and so many things related to it. So I think it's a great efforts from your side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, judges. Any more questions from the audience as well? All the participants and
Nazreen, please wait for a few minutes for the result.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you please wait.
All the participants and their presentations were amazing. Results will be announced in a while. Kindly wait patiently. The feedback form and the attendance link has been shared in the chat box. Kindly fill this up in order to mark your attendance.
Okay, Nazreen, I think we have the result here, and as discussed with Sonal ma'am also, and Anisha ma'am. So I think who is the first, who is getting the first position? Can we have some views? I don't know if the audio is on, you can answer. Even
Yeah.
I think Nazreen, you can say something, or maybe the other ones who are there.
Let others guess.
Acha,
Okay, in the audience, if you have any guesses, you can write in the chat box.
Batao. First and who is second? So you know, it's up to, let us see what is your responses, and then we will declare.
We got one response, Umama.
Umama, Umama, okay. Yeah, Umama was good. And
Any more?
Manas Mandal, yes, Manas also did a good presentation. So I think Umama, somebody is mentioning, okay. So I think let's go for the first position. I think as decided amongst the judges, and you know, as per the presentation and the outlook. So the first position goes to Samarth. Okay, so that is Samarth Mishra from BGMC. Okay, and so congratulations, Samarth. And the second position is Manas Mandal. Okay, second, as this is decided as per the judges, both of the judges have decided, right? So congratulations to both of you. Congratulations to both of you, and you have done quite a good presentation. And it's very you know, delightful to hear your views and the way you answered your questions also. Even Umama, you were also very good, and the other participants, they were also equally good. But as you know that there is a tradition, we have only first and second prize, so we have to follow that. So please don't get disheartened in case you feel that aapne acha kara tha, but maybe because of some reason you have not got the first or second position. That doesn't matter so much, right? The main thing what matters is that you know, you have to present well, and maybe not in this event, maybe in some other event you will be first or second. That keeps on happening, right? So thank you very much. It's a great event, Nazreen, and thank you Sonal ma'am, Anisha ma'am, and everyone, and all the presenters. You've done quite a good job. So it was delightful to hear you and being part of the presentation.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you for it. Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations, Samarth, Manas, and the others also who have done a very well job there. And thank you so much, Vipul sir and Sonal ma'am, to come over there and give your valuable time here. So now yeah, thank you. So Nazreen, you can.
Teachers and students present here made this event a memorable event. Thank you so much for listening, for inspiring, for encouraging, for being here, and most importantly, for giving your time. This event surely was full of new information and ideas. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for coming here and providing us with your wonderful presence and amazing thoughts and views. It made the event even more knowledgeable and insightful. I would like the judges to give a word of advice to all the participants for the future. If you have any views or anything else, you can share with the audience.
This advice for Samarth. Next time, please thoda chota karo. It can be
Sure,
a
ma'am.
negative side, and it can be you should be, you know that it minus mark will be there. So you are the last one, so that is fine. But next time, be constrained on the time also. All the best to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my team, and everyone here, audience. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.